I I wanted to go to field day last year, but I had a conflict with a previously scheduled event, so I couldn't do it. And so I was looking forward to field day this year in 2020, and then this lockdown happened. And so I was just like, I don't thinking, what could we do? And I found out that ARRL made some changes to their field day event in terms of the rules that would benefit not just individuals like me who couldn't go out and participate in a group event, but also big regional clubs like Papa System. We kind of come together twice a year at Fiesta and at the picnic, but I bet there's some people on the call today that have never had the opportunity to be at one of those, let alone all of us coming together in one place to do a field day. So it's tough for a regional system to, like Papa System, which is a fantastic club, to do a field day because typically field day activities are large groups gathering in public. Getting us together as a group is problematic, but also gathering in public is not a thing during lockdown season. So let's take a look at what I learned about field day and the changes for this year. So ARRL Field Day is normally a time to exhibit amateur radio to the world, for hams to experience club and group camaraderie, maybe to share their families with friends in radio, bring them out to the field day, and really to talk, to tap, and to tone on the radio a lot, because a lot of text. This year, to prevent the clubs from losing steam and individuals from being booked from participation, ARRL made some rule changes to keep clubs and individuals in the mix. And these are the changes. So it turns out that every station on field day has a class. And one of those classes could never really compete for points. That's the 1D class, which is when you're in your home station on grid power. And a lot of us, because of the lockdown for field day, will be in our home stations on grid power. And so you can't get points for working those stations on field day. Other stations, you can't. If you're one of those, you can't get points for working another station on field day. I know that's complicated. I can't even say it right, but basically, it would be kind of a downer if people were stuck in their homes and they couldn't get points for working all the other people who were stuck in their homes. And since clubs can't come together, in addition to allowing the 1D stations to get points for talking to each other, the aggregate club score will be published. This will be the sum of all the individual points for people who name the club name, the name of the club, not the call sign, the name of the club on line 2 of the report. So not only is this kind of a godsend for an ARRL send for individuals who are stuck at home when they are used to going to field day, but also it's a fantastic opportunity for a huge regional club like Papa, which normally has a hard time getting everybody together, because we can all participate individually and at the same time aggregate our scores into the Papa System score if we want to do that. And so here's how that might work. Why would you want to do this? Why would you want to do individual participation under Papa? Why would you want to do field day at all? I mean, many of you have fond memories of field days past, and some of you, like me, have never done field day. But for all of us, Papa System is a really special group. And each of us might have different reasons for participating in Field Day 2020 with Papa System. Let's take a look. Here's some motivations that I thought of for me with regard to field day. And the motivations on this page are things that don't involve very many changes to your existing system. And this means if all you have is HTs, you don't need to run out and buy even a mobile rig, or let alone an HF radio. There are plenty of things to do on field day with just an HT, but whatever rig you have, you want to be able to, if you're used to going through a repeater like the Papa system repeaters, you want to figure out how to talk radio to radio on a non-repeater frequency, because those are the things that count for contacts. So some things you could do is read your manual and figure out how to operate from VFO or simplex mode radio to radio without a repeater. You could maybe set up, instead of scanning channels, you could set it up to scan through a frequency range for your radio. One of the things that we have a lot of fun with after the Monday night DMR net is operating DMR without a hotspot and without a repeater, radio to radio, a simplex net. You could try simplex digital voice in whatever your favorite flavor is. There will probably be people out there trying Fusion, D-Star, and DMR on field day. And you know, it's not a technical thing, but it's an operation thing. Like for radio to radio contacts, you need to be able to call CQ. So you'll be saying things like CQ field day, this is KC6 ARY, or whatever your call is for yourself or your group. And you'll be calling CQ instead of saying,
hey, Kim,
listening
Kim,
on
I
the
hate
repeater.
to interrupt, but your battery is about to die. You may want to plug it in to the wall. Your battery on whatever this device is.
Oh, you know what? It was plugged in earlier. Thanks for the tip. Here, watch this. Good thing you can see my screen. There we go. All right, thanks. So we got to learn to operate differently. So that's kind of fun, learning new things. You could even make some small changes to your station without making a lot of expenditure. You have HTs and you want to get a little bit more gain. You know, maybe this is the week to build that tape measure Yagi that there's plans all over the internet for, or make a Slim Jim or a J-pole. Maybe you want to try out a new logbook or some free log software that you can find on the internet. Maybe you want to go e-power, emergency power with your rig. Figure out a way to run it on battery or solar. So these are some things that I find exciting about the challenge of field day, the opportunity to do new things. For people who are bolder, you could try something completely different. For example, if you do have a small group that's going to be socially distant in a park, and one of the folks there is an extra or a general, and you're a technician, you could actually do the group call for the field day contacts on the HF radio, provided that your group, your fellow group operator can access the control operator and maybe just as the logger for the system you're operating on. So it's a great chance to try out HF if you don't have general. The other thing you could do is combine field day with another type of activity that you haven't done. You want to try out, like parks on the air or summits on the air. If you do summits on the air, be sure to go to a peak that has lots and lots of activations, because that means it won't be a challenge physically to get it done. You could try working a satellite with your handy-talkie and its rubber duck antenna. It's absolutely possible. It's difficult, it's challenging, but I haven't worked out the satellite passes for field day yet, but you could try that. Or you could connect your computer to your rig even your HT and try digital modes. K7 CFO, I think, does a lot of 2-meter UHF and 6-meter digital modes. So that's pretty interesting. So there's things you could do that are different. There's things you could do that are new, or you could just enjoy getting out and making a carload of contacts. So here's a few things that I've heard about people that they're planning to do under these new rules for field day. And I think these are pretty interesting. I have my own plans, and I'm just thinking if you have some plans for field day, whether they're with Papa System or not, it'd be great to share them in the chat. So a lot of folks that I've talked to over the last few weeks on Papa System have said, yeah, that's really cool, but I'm going to be participating with such and such a club. Since they do that every year and the club has worked it out, they're going to participate with that club. That is fantastic. If you are going to be doing that and not doing field day with Papa System, that's cool. That's really great. And I think people would like to know about what your plans are and what your experiences are for the club. So either before or after, maybe post them with some pictures on the forums or on the Facebook page for Papa, and just share it with the other members, because I love hearing about what you guys are doing. Field day is 1800 next to 2059 Sunday next. Okay, so your contacts only count for points during this period. And so if you want to do field day with Papa System, how exactly do you do it? I mean, beyond the radio part, here's how it works. There are some things beyond operating the radio and logging that you need to do in order to get field day points. And there's one key thing to do to apply any points you earn to the Papa System aggregate score, as well as your own. Here's what there's a field packet that you can download from ARRL or from the forums, or link in the Papa System Facebook, and read the packet. You kind of have to think different sections that is
Gary, your video is frozen and your audio is distorted.
Let me just do.
Gary, your video is frozen and your audio is distorted.
Got it. Now.
As a comment from Carlos here, Kim, you may want to actually just cut your video. It might help free up some bandwidth so your audio comes across maybe a little better. Something to think about.
I think he may have dropped off and is going to come back on. So in the interim, actually, this is a perfect opportunity to do a couple of polls, which everyone should be seeing.
I was seeing it, it just went away.
Yeah, I'm having some weird.
Yeah, the first one came up, flashed up, and went away. So now that the virtual Elmer's there.
Oh, that's this is the problem with permissions in Zoom. Yeah, because this is not showing. Well, this is awesome. All right. Part of the technological issues in our modern world.
Todd, this is Carlos. Did you want to put up a new?
Uh-oh.
Todd, did you want to show the results of the first one or put up a new one?
I was going to put up a new one, and I actually added some questions on the back end, but they don't seem to be showing within the Zoom app. So they don't. It seems like there may not be real-time communication between a couple of these things.
Okay. I'll let you run the polls.
I have a question. He took that slide down quickly. What time does it actually begin on Saturday? Was it 11 o'clock, 1100 hours? Is that what I got?
I thought that it was 10, but
No, it's 11 to 11 on Sunday.
all right.
11 a.m. Saturday to 11 a.m. Sunday.
Actually, the end time depends on when you start setting up.
We have 3 hour. Actually, there's a 27-hour period for field day during which you can operate 24 consecutive hours within that time frame.
All right. It looks like Kim may have dropped into an internet RF hole or something along those lines. So,
You hear me?
There he is.
Yep. Sorry about that. If you let me share again, I'll finish it out real quick. That's the
Yeah, you
network
should.
problems, obviously.
Yeah.
Host disabled attendee screen sharing, it says.
I'm looking for you. There you are.
Okay, I'm the co-host now. All right, let's try that again. Okay. Are you able to see the slides?
Yep.
Great. All right, let me just do one thing. Get my notes back. All right. So beyond operating, there's some things we have to do, and really there's no substitute to downloading the field day packet. Look at it. You read it to figure out whether you're, I'm going to stop my video. Okay, there we go. Can you still see the presentation?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And so you really need to read the packet and figure out what your station matches up in terms of setup and class. And we have a cheat sheet for that for PAPA members. When you do your radio work on field day, you have to give your call sign plus the ARRL region plus the station class. Then, of course, operate your station on field day and keep a log, including the field day exchange that you receive from other field day stations. Then after the field day, fill out the field day report. We have a PAPA system field day report that has PAPA system filled in the right spot on the report. You don't really turn in your logs. You're supposed to keep them. You use those to calculate the point score and report it on the report. So what is your station call? Well, a lot of folks have asked, what station call do they use for PAPA? You don't use one of the PAPA calls. You use your own call if it's just a single operator station. So Whiskey Alpha 6, Juliet Foxtrot Kilo, operating by himself, his call is going to be WA6JFK. If there's multiple operators forming a group, like a 3A station, choose one person's call to represent the group. So you can use, I don't know, if you've got a technician, a general, and an extra, use the extras call. and that might facilitate a few things there. So you need your station call. You need your ARRL region. And so I'd probably be operating in the Los Angeles region, but this is also on our cheat sheet. And then you need your station class, and this is where it gets a little complicated. So a Class A station is portable power with three or more amateurs. And if there's 6 amateurs with 4 radios, then that is a 4A station because they're able to operate 4 radios simultaneously. A Class B is portable where you just have 1 or 2 amateurs. You're out somewhere in the field. So a 2B station would be 2 amateurs with a radio each. C is a mobile station where everything, the antenna, the power, and the radio are all contained in a mobile conveyance like a car, a boat, or a plane. So if you're driving around in your car on field day, you are a 1C station. Home on grid power is a D class station. And if there's 1 or 2 people operating from home, you would be, with a single radio, you would be a 1D station. If you're on emergency power at home, like a generator or a battery, and you have 2 transmitters at home on emergency power, you would be a 2E. And for people operating as a club out of an EOC, an established EOC, like in a hospital or a sheriff's station or something like that, you would be a Class F. And so the number is the number of radios that can transmit simultaneously on different bands. And the letter is the type of station. And for previously, only the type A and type F could get club scores. But for 2020, all the classes can get club scores. And previously, a D station, a D-type station, could not get points for working other D-type stations. However, for 2020, D-type stations get points for working all stations. So here's some call sign and field day exchange examples. So if we've got Rick, Adrian, and Neil socially distant in a park as a group, they would be N6 IET, Rick's call sign, LAX 3A, because they'd be in Los Angeles, let's say. And there's 3 different radios, and that's why that's a 3. But it's a group, so it's an A class. If Brian is in a park in Glendale, then his station by himself would be WA6JFK LAX1B because he's using portable power. If Ramon is driving around the South Bay, then he's KR0MAN LAX1C, okay? If Mike is flying between Van Nuys and Burbank airports, then he's LAX1C because he's mobile. If Nick and Carlos are sailing in Newport, then they might be K7CFO ORG for Orange County and 2C because there's 2 radios in a mobile device. If Ed is on the grid at home up in Ridgecrest, he might be WI6RE SJC with San Joaquin something because he's in Kern County, 1D because he's on the grid. And if Ted is on the battery at home in San Diego, he would be WD6TED San Diego SDG 1E. So that's a little exhaustive, but that's some examples of how you make your field day exchange. And I go through them because it's a little complicated, at least it seemed like that to me. And then the most important thing is if you want to aggregate your individual score and have it count towards Papa System's aggregate score, when you turn in your field day report, you want to write Papa System in line 2. And now you might be mailing in the paper form, or you might be filling out their web form on their website, which they prefer. Please ignore the part that says Class A or F only. If you're a C, D, or E station, you can still report Papa System as the club or group name this year only. And that form is due by July 28th. So, well, have fun operating on field day. You are probably going to make a ton of contacts. I'm looking forward to that part. Hope to work many of you on the air. And so just want to get some time of questions. And also when we make the slideshow available, I want you to see that we have some links here to the various things, including our Papa Field Day Exchange cheat sheet. So Todd, do we have any questions?
Yeah, so I've got a couple. I'm just trying to do a little thing in the back channel. So the first one, Terry W6TOP noted that he's pretty sure that the order actually on the reporting is different and that the station type comes first. So it would be 3A LAX as opposed to LAX 3A.
That's a good point. Thanks, Terry.
So let's see the link, and then let me okay, so let me go back up to the top. So Ron asks, I'm a tech, does field day include 2 meter and 70 centimeter?
Yes, it does. It includes 2 meter, 70 centimeter, 1.25 meter, 23 centimeter. You get the idea. It's everything 50 megahertz. I'm sorry. Yeah, 6 meters and smaller, right? 50 megahertz and higher. All the VHF, UHF, Uber HF.
Cool. Yeah, and I can say that if you've tried to do simplex like 146.52 or 446.0 in the past and not been able to raise anybody, on field day, you will be very likely to raise someone just doing plain old FM simplex. So for those who are techs, this is the time to make sure that you can dial up a simplex frequency and go for it. And Darren, he said 50 megahertz or higher, I think referring just to VHF, UHF. So HF is, of course, in play for this. So let's see, let me go down the list, and I saw a couple more come in. RJ KM6AVH asks, if someone is home yet has a Go Box battery, you can just go back to regular participation in your grid, correct?
So if you operate exclusively off of battery or generator from home, you can just be an E-class station, if I understand that correctly.
All right, let's see. And then this is probably a question. I'll actually save Darren's question because I think that's Cecil wants to chime in. Jim asked, what is the field day packet? Where do I download it? I put a link to the forum post that you had created, Kim, because you've got all of the documentation is there, and it's also on the Facebook page, correct?
That's correct. I'm going to have to go back over the Facebook page, and Facebook's not a great place to aggregate that stuff, but I'll put it as file as well as meeting. But if you go in the forum post, it's all, and that's linked from the front page.
And then so Clay asked, what would working on a handheld mobile Kenwood D74A in Glendale Park count as 1B? I believe that's correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and digital modes, John notes that digital modes are fine, you just can't use a repeater. It's just got to be radio to radio. So you can, this also is an opportunity to do, as you mentioned, Kim, it's an opportunity to try DMR simplex, D-Star simplex, C4FM simplex.
And so that's digital voice, right? There's also, you could also use the digital modes like RIDI or FT8 or JS8 call, for example, which has all the benefits of RIDI and FT8 combined. So it's more interactive. If you use FT8, look for this.
Kim, your audio is trashed. You might want to shut off your picture again.
Is that better? So you can definitely do FTA call on 6 meter, 10 meter, and I know, as I say,
Can't hear anything.
I think we lost Kim to the RF black hole again. Let me go through a couple of the other questions, ones that I think I can answer. Ben asking, the presentation should be posted so we can follow along without the video. Too late for that. We'll take the note on that actually for future presentations. Also, this presentation deck will be on the forums post that Kim has going on popassist.com, and he'll put it up on the Facebook page, so it'll be available from there. Ben asked about single handy talkie. That's a 1B, and I've done that before. Bart asks an interesting question. Is there a frequency we should use for, and I'm not sure what FD contacts with other PAPA members. I'm not sure what the FD refers to.
Field day.
Field day.
Oh, field day, sorry. So that's a good question. I think that typically people use calling channels, at least on VHF, UHF, so 146.52, 446.0, 441.0 for DMR simplex, color code 1, time slot 1, and talk group 99 for those of you of the DMR persuasion. I don't think that we currently have a PAPA simplex frequency, but we can talk about that and maybe post it on the forums and talk about it on some of the nets this week if we come up with a simplex frequency. It's the advantage to using the calling channels is there's usually a lot of people on the calling channels. The downside to using the calling channels is sometimes on field day, it's a pileup like nonstop. But I'm guessing that probably the calling channels on VHF, UHF are going to be the best bets for this.
You listed a bunch of calling channels, but you gave them so fast I couldn't write them down. Could you go through?
Sure. So these are the national, these are the, where's my, so this was ridiculously expensive, but I actually find that I use it like all the time. It's one of these nifty guides, and it basically just lays out the band plans for all of the bands. And so it indicates, and some of this is outdated information, especially for the HF, but it does show you where the novice and tech and extra sections start on all the bands. And it includes 2 meter, 70 centimeter, 1.2. So for 2 meter, 146.52 is the national calling frequency on FM. If you have 2 meter single sideband capabilities, which is what I'm particular to, but not a lot of radios have them, that usually is 144.200. But again, that's sideband, not FM. National calling on 70 centimeter is 446.000. Also, people will oftentimes use 446.500 for a simplex frequency on UHF. And then I'm trying to remember, if you're a 220 person, there's the sideband. I'm trying to remember, national calling frequency, if you have a 220 radio, is 223.500. And we can post all of these. And it looks like Kim said 50.125 on 50 meter. But that's for sideband, I assume. FM, can see what, for those of you that are doing 6 meter, looks like if you're doing 6 meter FM, it's 52.525 is the national simplex frequency. I haven't had a lot of success on 6 meter, but 6 meter has been opening up a little bit with sporadic E. So for those of you that haven't worked 6 meter, either sideband or FM, field day is the best time to do it because you have a high probability of people actually being on the frequency.
What are the DMR frequencies and codes for simplex on both 440 and 2 meters?
So 440 is 441.000, and it's time slot 1, color code 1, talk group 99. And if you have a Papa code plug, that probably is programmed into the zones. I do not know what 2 meter simplex is on DMR. Has anybody done 2 meter DMR work?
I just posted in the comments the frequencies that I have in my radio for. There are if you scroll up, there's 4 UHF and 2 VHF.
Oh yeah. I should look at my code plugs. I never used 2 meter DMR simplex, but I did put them in because I'm OCD.
Right, and I have also programmed in my radio, and I was trying to find it to post it in. There are dedicated D-Star simplex channels also. And also, I was just reading an article about, I guess, with the 7100 and the 7600 ICOM, you can do D-Star on HF. They listed some frequencies that you can look for D-Star contacts on HF. Apparently, those radios will do that. So,
yes. So DMR simplex, I have 145.51 and 145.79.
right.
Those are the two that I have programmed in my radio. I also have 223.600 if you want to do 220. That is not an official national calling frequency, but we did do some coordination with the local frequency coordination group. So that may be worth doing experimentation. As always, whenever you get on a simplex channel, listen first before you sort of key up and start plowing your way through it. And it
Could
looks,
you repeat that 220? Did you say 226?
223.6.
Okay, sorry.
So the regular FM simplex is 223.5. And here's a little sort of view into how they make the sausage. Once Anytone came out with the tri-band radio that did DMR, all of a sudden we had 220 and a radio that could do DMR. And so a couple of us started sort of scratching our heads saying, because we looked at all of the band plans and there is no listing for a simplex DMR 220 frequency. So there are local groups that coordinate the frequencies within an area. So I think SCRUBA is the abbreviation for Southern California. And so it was literally reaching out to them and saying, hey, we're interested in doing simplex DMR on 220. What's a viable frequency? And so then it came back to us to say, well, there isn't one because there haven't been a lot of radios with capability. So then it was a task of listening to different spots on the band to see where there was not a lot of traffic. There's a chunk of 220 that's set aside for digital experimentation and various digital and data modes. And they said, well, listen to frequencies in this sort of area. And if you don't hear traffic over a couple of weeks period, that probably means that it's an open frequency. So I don't think that is officially codified, but that's how far we were down the road on sort of figuring that out. But that we may have to do a virtual meeting talk on frequency coordination, because I think that's a whole other black box that it's like magically everybody's on different frequencies and somehow it all works. At least most of the time it works.
Todd, can I ask a question?
Sure.
On analog simplex, does that imply that there's no offset?
Correct. You transmit on the same frequency you receive.
Thank you.
So the code plugs, if you're on Papa Code Plug, they typically will have a simplex listing on that. The other thing is just to go into VFO mode on the radio and punch in 146.52. And then Joe asked about the band plan. So this is the nifty quick reference. And Nifty makes these normally they're manuals for radios, but this is, and it's like I said, I think it's a lot of money. I think it was like 15 bucks, but it's laminated and you can see the coffee stains. I can actually wipe the coffee stains off because it is laminated, but I end up using this almost on a daily basis because when I'm spinning around in HF, there are some times that I just can't remember exactly where because it's a big band. So I find this really useful. They also have one for, and I have it around somewhere, shortwave and commercial radio, which I use as well. And yes, Kim, everything is a coffee coaster in the house, including radios. All right, I think we got to pretty much all the questions. And John put a link to the Niffy guide in Amazon in chat. Chat's the greatest thing in the world because you've got a back channel of communication. So with that, I'd say virtual claps for Kim for an awesome presentation. Field day there's no way you can cover all of the details in one presentation unless we wanted to sit here for 8 hours. So Kim, I think you did an awesome job of pulling out the highlights, and then we'll sort of work our way through it. And towards those lines, before I throw it over to Cecil for the door prizes, I want to mention that next week, the plan is that we will fire up a Zoom meeting. We'll send out an invite for it by email like we normally do. The plan is that we will fire up a Zoom meeting just like this, but we will just leave it open. And what I would ask is that for those people who want to serve as a virtual Elmer, who want to answer questions, and oftentimes you don't have to know everything, because usually in life there's somebody who knows less than you do and there's somebody who knows more than you do. So don't be shy about being an Elmer on things that you know about and have experience with. And so the goal is that we will try and have folks in who have some technical expertise, and then if people have questions, they just pop into Zoom and ask their questions, and then you work through it. So we may try and do a sign up for times, but I think that may be a bridge too far. But the meeting will be going nonstop for at least 24 hours. The highest likelihood of me popping in maybe at like 1 or 2 in the morning, just because that's normally when I'm up. But more details on that, and it should be fun. We're all looking forward to Field Day.
Comment?
May I add one comment regarding field day operation, especially for people that have never done it before? Pay attention, there is a field day rule that you have, if you get on a certain band, you have to operate on that band. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 15 minutes before you switch to another band. So for example, if you go on 15 meters and the band is dead and you make a transmission on 15 meters, you have to stay on 15 meters for that minimum time before you change to, let's say, 20 meters, for example.
All righty, cool. And I see Barry K6ZGW has his hand up. He discovered the raise hand feature.
Now, the question I have, and it was posted, I'm going to be operating 1D from the house on all the modes, but I'm also planning on taking my handheld with the magnetic mount and going in the car. But I still have to say that I'm 1D, even though I'm mobile. That's it. Yeah,
I think so. And at the risk of being a little bit of a heretic, I just want to, for those who are feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this, and they're like, oh my God, 1D, filling out paperwork, I can't do it. To those of you who are in that camp, I say, don't worry about the paperwork. Don't file anything. Just turn your radio on, figure out what you need to answer the call with. This is the same thing goes for contests. You don't have to fill everything out, but make contacts. That's the whole point of field days. So know what zone you're in. If you're in LAX, know what your code is. That's all you have to do. The rest of it is just gravy if you want to go through and participate and get the points. But I think the most important part of field day is just operating. So just listen and figure out. I do this all the time on HF contests, because every weekend there's a different HF contest, and they have slightly different rules about what information they want to come back. Sometimes it's a state, sometimes it's a zone, sometimes it's just Oscar Mike, meaning old man. But you just listen to the other stations and what they're responding to. And then when someone, says QRZ and they're listening for a call, you jump in with your call sign and make the contact. And then I'll normally log it on QRZ, but field day is great because you can go all the way and you can take batteries and you can go set up remote and you can fill out all of the logs and send all of that in and chase points and go for it. Or you can just sit at home and just pick off contacts and make connections with people, and anywhere in between. So I think that's really, really important, is this idea of listening to hear how the people are operating and then just diving in. I mean, most people on field day will be very patient if you're a newbie and don't quite know what to do. There are some contesters who are not patient. If you're on HF and they're running a contest, you know, there are the occasional people that are a little cranky and they want to move quickly. But most people are really patient, and if you come back and you don't give them the right information, they will just ask you for it, and then you learn and you move on for the next one. So have fun with it. It's an awesome day to operate. All righty. So Cecil.
Yeah, I have a comment before you head off.
Oh, David, go ahead.
Yeah, just to make a counterpoint to what Todd was saying, that's fine if you make a few contacts. But if you make, 100, 200, 300 contacts, it's probably a good idea to submit your log, because all those contacts want to be counted by the other stations. And so even though you're not concerned about your points and being competitive, you want to make sure that the stations that you contacted get points. And so you can submit your log as a check log. I've been in contests where they actually email me and say, please submit your log because I made too many contacts. And Phil has a comment there. Go ahead.
Yes, for field day, it's not like other contests. They do not check logs against each other. So all you're doing is submitting the number of contacts you've made.
Good point.
Yeah, for me, it really, it's about operating. I think the whole point of field day is, I mean, Cecil always stresses be radioactive, and field day is like the ultimate day to do that in ways that you normally don't, especially for people who are normally on repeaters. Field day is like the one day that you're going to be able to make a simplex contact almost no matter where you are and no matter what you're using on field day. Cool. All right. Thanks everyone for that. Cecil, I will throw it over to you. You probably want to unmute yourself and pop your video on.
Okay, very good. Very interesting. Kim did a good job for especially newbies. And the way that the raffle's going to work is that we have 1, 2, 3, 5 prizes. We have the Mighty Go Box with a Biano battery from Impulse Electronics. We have the Anytone ATD878 DMR handheld radio. And then we have the TYT TH350 tri-band FM handheld. And then we got 2 Papa Polo t-shirts. So with that, I'll start off. Now, the other thing is that whatever you decide, the first ticket I draw out is you'll have your choice of any of those. So I'll call out the first ticket. And it's James, K6RIX. And hopefully he's listening. James, K6RIX, what's your choice?
Not sure if that's me. I'm K6IRX, and I entered as Jim, so might not be me.
Well, on the PayPal, it's you. It's K6RIX. In the PayPal, it says James.
Okay, that's not me.
Okay, so your choice, Jim. What are the 5 items? What would you like? You got a choice of the first one.
Wait, can we clarify what the PayPal email is? I don't want to take someone else's prize. but I'm not RIX, I'm IRX.
Okay. Well,
Sorry
that's
about
a
that.
way to start. Okay, that's awful. Yeah, you're right. It's IRX.
IRX.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll take the anytone.
Okay. Let me just write it down here. Okay. I'll get a chip to you. We're going to have a pretty busy week. It'll probably be towards the end of next week.
That's all right, no rush. Thank you.
Alrighty, congratulations. Okay, the next one is Bruno, W4AFK. Bruno, are you with us today? Well, I guess I have to make a choice for him. Huh. You know, this is probably not attending makes it a little bit difficult because we actually have two good prizes, and I would probably, because I'm running it, I guess I could make the decision for Bruno. I'm going to choose for Bruno the Mighty Go Box. I think if there's no complaints from the group, I think in all fairness that the next best prize is the Mighty Go Box. So I'm going to go that route. And then we have, let me get the other one. Okay, so the next one will be for TYT Tribander or the Papa shirts. And it is Jeff, AB6 PM. Boy, that's really too bad these guys aren't here. Well, in order to expedite this, I'm going to give them the next AB6 MB Jeff. I'm going to give them the Tribander.
So I'm here.
Okay, hi Jeff.
Hi, go ahead and put it back in the pool.
Are you
Pretty
sure?
much got everything I want, so I'm fine, but go ahead and put it back in the pool.
Okay. You know, are you familiar with the TYT Tribander 2-meter 220 handheld?
No, actually I'm not. But I got so many handhelds right now, I don't need another one. But thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I pulled out another one, and it's Ernest K6KKM.
Yay, Cecil, great, I'm here, thanks.
All right, so your choice is the Tri-Band or polo shirts. I think you're going to go for the Tri-Band.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, I'm going to put you down for that. Like I said, it's going to be next week. It's just another Hilltop Madness. It's probably going to be towards the end of the week before we get it sent out.
Well, Cecil, I live just over the hill from you. I could run over and pick it up sometime next week.
Yeah, it's scheduling. Okay, the day I know I'm going to be home, I'll give you a call and you can pick it up. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good. Let me jot this down real quick so we don't get it mixed up here. All right. We got 2 T-shirts coming up. And we have that is funny. AB6MB. Jeff, I guess you're not going to get off scot-free. What size?
Well, actually, I already have a T-shirt. Go ahead and throw it back in.
That's funny. Wow, that's amazing.
Get
Yeah.
a polo shirt.
Yeah.
Does he have a polo shirt?
What's that?
Does he have a polo shirt?
Actually, I do not.
Well, I'll tell you what I could do. Since I'm the polo shirt would, we were going to just do 2 T-shirts, but instead of 2 T-shirts, I'll do 1 polo, and then that'll cover you. Okay, I'll put you down for a polo shirt, and that'll conclude the drawing.
Okay, yeah, make it a 3X, please.
Okay. 3X, and it's. So that concludes the session, and with the we covered the cost of all the radios, and it'll go towards the bulk of the money is going to go towards the purchase of 100-watt Motorola radios. So we're halfway there, and with the additional donations that we got at the start, we went over what we anticipated. So we covered all the costs. So I want to thank everybody, including Kim and Dave and all the rest of the folks that participated. It's we had another successful Zoom session, and we are talking seriously of because the Papa system has expanded so much. We got people from San Francisco all over the planet that we're going to attempt to in the future, probably on the last Saturday of the month, to have a Zoom session in the future. And that'll allow a lot of people that just can't drive or live so far away from where we're having our normal VE test sessions. And I guess we're all praying that we won't, we'll get out of this pandemic thing, and there'll be restaurants available where we can have a reasonable meeting. So stay tuned. And with that, I'm going to give it back to Todd. Todd, it's all yours.
Alrighty, Cecil. Well, thanks to Kim, and thanks to everyone for questions and comments. Always good. For next week, look for an email for the virtual Elmer Zoom session. We'll send that out next week. There will not be a drawing, unfortunately, for that, but it will be a place where you can come and hang out, ask questions, get answers, and do all of that sort of stuff.